Several local soil and water conservation volunteers broke a sweat today. For the first time, Crow Wing County's Soil and Water Conservation District organized a project to get rid of an invasive species. Hannah Tran has more on the buckthorn, a shrub or small tree that's been outcompeting native plants and consuming their resources.
The buckthorn tree. It's not wanted here in Brainerd or in Minnesota. These crews are trying to get rid of it.
We are cutting it with either a chainsaw or with hand saws, or we're pulling it just by hand if it's small.
Conservation volunteers tore out the roots of an invasive species from Europe. They've been around for centuries, taking over native trees everywhere.
Every yard I've ever been to, so I didn't realize that they were an invasive species.
These volunteers are chopping down every tree with leaves like these, round with circular veins, carrying them by the bundle to meet their death in a grinder.
The native species have not yet seen this plant. It's going to be able to outcompete them. It doesn't have any ecological predators in this habitat.
These trees are outcompeting native trees like honeysuckles, aspens, and oaks. They're over-consuming resources like food, light, and water,
which allows them to just propagate and take over a large area.
These piles of buckthorn trees will be grinded up into mulch and buried into the landfill. They're trying to get rid of it completely because it's kind of like a weed. It grows and invades nearby vegetation very quickly.
Because it is such a noxious weed that's easily spread, we have to contaminate it and get rid of it.
The buckthorn trees have been decreasing wildlife habitat for hundreds of years in Minnesota. It lacks natural control besides the hands of these volunteers.
It's a species that doesn't belong here. It's out competing and it's hurting what we have naturally.
Buckthorn trees, they're not welcomed here. These crews made that clear. Hannah Tran, Lakeland News.
On Tuesday, the crew also tackled the buckthorn tree near the new Buffalo Trail in Brainerd. Conservation Corps of Minnesota and Crow Wing Power were also part of the project.
If you've enjoyed this segment of Lakeland News, please consider making a tax-deductible contribution to Lakeland Public Television.